And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to Atlanta for tonight's Atlanta 1, 2, 3. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me in the booth tonight is Alayton Norgard. Alayton, how's it going, my friend?
It's going well. Looking forward to seeing this race. It's a different twist on super speedways, so we'll see what happens.
Should definitely be a good one here tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting grid for the evening. We'll get that up on your screen now. As Tommy Ryan going to be on the pole alongside last week's double winner, William White. That's row number 1. Row 2, Michael Hosick and Corey Abbott. Row 3, Dusty Dewar and Jeff Ryan. Row 4, I should say, Andrew Rucker, who will be going to the rear with an end-of-line penalty that was self-requested, is going to line up alongside Hunter Smith. Cale Pocock and Mitch Avere make up row 5 with Jay Connor and Andrew Hardcastle in row 6. Alayton, why don't you take us through these next couple of rows?
Row 7, we've got Kyle Hanshaw and Austin Inabit. Row 8, Gavin Higgins and Trey Holmes. Trey Holmes going to the back of the field as well with a requested DOL. 17th, we got Dave Carpenter and Connor Thompson in 18th. Kendall Noah Player in 19th and Frank Fody in 20th. And Jaden Rasimas in 21st and Dominic Wright in 22nd. JP Phillips and Tyler Dixon in the next row. Carlos Acosta in 25th with Josh Clark in 26th. Justin Vandermeer in 27th, and Brett Baldeck in 28th. Casey Hatch in 29th, and Josh Smith in 30th.
Starting 31st, David Westergreen with Brent Jones to his outside. The rest of your lineup looks like this. Zach Evans, 33rd. 34th, Dylan Avere. Dave Huckleberry, 35th, with Harrison Talon, 36th. He has not made the call for this one. David Phillips, Austin Sally, Dylan Jones, Shay Mitchell, Mark Robilas, Andre Trinoga, and Paul Schmullenberg going to round out your field. Tonight's race format, we'll get that up on your screen here in just a moment. 80 laps, 4 sets of tires for the field, as we're going to get set to go green here momentarily. Alayton, who's your pick to get it done tonight?
It's hard to say. At a super speedway, pretty much anyone can do it. I think I'll go with Cale Pocock for my pick.
That's driver the number 77, Cale Pocock, going to roll off in row number 4. I am going to go with Brent Jones in car number 89. He's going to get it done tonight. As the field comes to the start-finish line, green flags out, we're underway. It's Tommy Ryan and William White going to be side-by-side into turns number 1 and 2. Michael Hosick just behind them. Corey Abbott and Dusty Dewar up in the top 5 as well. Watch for Dusty all night long. He's one of those guys, maybe a little bit on the aggressive side when it comes to the super speedways, but still does know how to get it done, and is definitely going to be a guy to watch in the later stages of this one. As now side by side, Michael Hosick has a bobble on the bottom. Looks like he clipped the white line just a little bit, nearly up into the side of William White. As they wrap up lap number 1, that lap's going to go to Tommy Ryan in the 66. William White just to the outside of him now, with Corey Abbott just behind.
Yeah, this is definitely a super speedway like Daytona or Talladega, but it has its own little unique twist to it with just how tight the corners are. It's going to be a lot harder for these cars to go any more than 2 wide, so hopefully they keep things under control here and only stay side by side for the time being.
That's definitely the goal. You really hope that they do keep it clean, keep it green here tonight, as like you mentioned, a little bit of a different sort of dynamic than your typical super speedways. We just take a little glance through the field, a couple of smaller battles going on. Back here you got Justin Vandermeer side by side with Zach Evans. They're back in the 26th and 27th positions as they battle it out. But tire wear also not necessarily huge, but gonna come into play more than what you would see at your typical Talladega or Daytona. So that's something to be mindful of as well. As these guys continue under green, the tires are going to go just a bit every couple laps, you're going to see a bit more wear on them. So these guys are going to have to keep it clean if they want to make it to the end. As taking a look here, looks like Harrison Talon has now joined the race. So he's going to be starting this one 5 laps down. And one thing to keep in mind, there is a 6 lap down rule that's in effect, but Harrison had a connection issue at the start of the race, so he will be able to go up to 11 laps down in this race before he's forced to park. Anyone else, if they come down with damage and find themselves off the pace, they're going to have just 6 laps to rectify the issue before they're forced to hit pit lane.
Yeah, going back to the tires you mentioned, one of the things that these drivers are going to have to watch out for is if they treat it like Daytona and Talladega and just flat-foot it all the way around, they're going to burn up those tires and have a lot more handling issues than some of these cars with more experienced drivers are going to see. So hopefully it doesn't take long for them to learn. Lifting through the corners is definitely something you'll have to do.
Yeah, yes, there's a lot of parts of this race where you're going to be flat foot, but you definitely do want to think about lifting as well. Just a little bit, let the car kind of coast through and make sure you have those tires towards the end. As I'm taking a look here at the David Phillips car. It's one of those old Bojangles schemes back here, Alayton. Pretty cool looking car, the 03. Let's see if I can get that up on the screen here just so you guys can have a better look. There you go. The 03 Bojangles car. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of yellow on a car. Not my favorite, but I mean, that's a personal taste.
Brett Baldeck has a unique look here tonight as well. Looks like he's got the Flintstones on board with him in that number 33 machine for Baldeck Motorsports. Another yellow car, Alayton. They don't know the superstitions and the unluckiness, I guess, that comes with a yellow car.
I didn't even know that was a thing either. I just don't like a lot of yellow.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want the brightest of race cars because a lot of times it stands out more. And guys have a higher tendency of hitting it statistically. I guess you could say, I don't know who did the statistics. I might have just made it up, but still, as we look out front, it's still Tommy and William leading the way. Your top 6 has not changed whatsoever. They've shuffled a couple spots here and there, but for the most part, everyone's kind of stayed where they are. Biggest mover so far in the race is Brent Jones, up 15 positions, started 32nd, now up to 17th. So he's on the charge for it. He's got Jaden Rasimas just ahead of him. I see Gavin Higgins there. Shout out to neighbor Pete. I'm sure he's tuned in here tonight. Good to see him in the YouTube chat, I'm sure a little bit later on, as battle here between Justin Vandermeer and Brett Baldeck. You're going to see swapping of spots all night long.
Yeah, especially further back in the pack, as the lines go forward and back relative to each other, there's a lot more opportunity to move, but up at the front, I would expect them to be pretty static until people start making 3 wide moves.
Yeah.
Which, this early in the race, there's no need to do that.
Definitely no need to do that. You know they still will. You're going to have guys that'll get a little bit anxious and antsy and want to start moving their way forward before the halfway point. And we're already ticking off laps pretty darn quickly. 12 laps into this one. Just 68 laps to go. There we go. Math. One guy to watch here as well. He looked really good in practice. I found he was able to move the lines properly, get himself the good runs, and had some good pace as well, obviously, by working that draft. Andrew Hardcastle, another one of those Abbott Motorsports cars, doing a nice job here so far, up in the 11th position.
Yeah, Andrew's a guy that might not be up at the front, especially early in a race, but at these plate tracks, he plays it safe and tends to be around at the end to see if he can make something happen.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him. Kyle Hanshaw down on his inside as well. Kyle, of course, picking up a victory a couple of weeks ago on a super speedway in the Robotics Photography Grand National Series. So keep an eye on Kyle Hanshaw as potentially a guy to work his way up there a little bit later on in the run. Andre Trinoga doing a nice job. He's up 10 spots on the day, currently sitting up in 32nd. He started back in the four. Oh! Well, caution's out, as Trinoga going to get together with Dylan Javier, and that's going to put us under caution for the first time today. Let's take a look and see what just happened between Andre Trinoga and Dylan Javier.
Yeah, that looks like a case of not lifting for the corner and
Major push.
pushing too much.
Well, that's going to be an easy call for race control. It's going to be a tally on the 23. Just one of those. Honestly, it's a rookie mistake. Something that he'll learn from. Actually, I want to go back here. Dave Huckleberry was just behind. I want to see how well Dave did getting through this. It looked like he did a pretty good job of dodging that wreck. Yeah, Dave did a good job getting through. So no issues there for Dave Huckleberry, as pit lane is open. Almost everybody coming down, with the exception of 2 cars. Connor Thompson going to stay out in the 30, and Andre Trinoga going to stay out in the 23. Not sure about that call.
I'm not a fan of that choice to stay out, because pitting here, you can make it to the end on fuel
Now,
on the off chance that we stay green.
The one thing I'll say in Connor's defense here is if he comes down pit road this time, he will get the lap lead bonus point, I do believe, which will kind of help him in the overall season run. But old tires out front, I don't know. I don't think it's a good call. And I want to give a shout out as well to his sponsor on the car. He's got Golden Brew Coffee on there. They were the sponsor of last night's Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series race, and race winner, the Rasimas Trophy Grand National Series race, I should say. Race winner Tyler Fody picked up a free bag of coffee from them. So go check them out. Let them know the Elite Racing Network sent you, and Connor Thompson sent you as well, and we see if we can get them a little bit more support out there. And Connor's going to stay out, so not sure about this one. Andre Trinoga is going to stay out as well, Alayton. I think I dislike this even more for Trinoga than I do for Thompson.
Yeah, this definitely puts him in a position where he's in a lot more danger.
Yeah.
If something happens to him up at the front, that's the entire field that could be caught up in it.
And the thing with Connor too is if he feels a little bobble on the restart, he has the bottom lane, so he could just dip down, let the field go by, and everything will be a-okay. Trinoga doesn't have that luxury. He's in front of some very fast race cars, and essentially would have to go up to the outside wall to let them by. And at that point on a super speedway, you go up there, somebody might try to follow you, and then it gets a little bit questionable. And of course, we've already seen the push that the 23 car has, so it's going to be interesting. 1 lap to green here at Atlanta. It's the Atlanta 1-2-3 in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. Glad to be here with you. Be sure to check out RevLimit Workshop over on X. They've got all your custom design needs. And pitpassnetwork.com, your home for all things motorsports. From news to reviews and interviews, check out pitpassnetwork.com today. Back down on the racetrack, the pace truck is off, as Connor Thompson going to lead us back to the green flag, Alayton.
Yeah, coming in the restart zone, Connor gets a clean start here. That's a big jump. The outside did not go anywhere when the green came out. So that's going to put Andre back into at least 6th place here. Looks like people are still continuing to go around him, but that's going to leave William and Corey probably.
Oh, this is going to get sketchy.
In line on the outside.
This is getting sketchy here. 3 wide briefly down the back straightaway. Gavin Higgins going to go around Michael Hasek. Andre Chernoga still caught up there on the high side. We're going to keep an eye on him as Higgins going to try to clear ahead of Hasek here. Now looks like things are starting to space out a little bit, and these guys should be a-okay for now. On that restart, Corey Abbott was really sleeping on the start as well. He lost a ton of ground, but it was able to quickly make it up, and now back just behind William White for the top spot. By the way, Chernoga, an update on him, he's back to the 13th position now, 14th spot from the outside row on the restart.
Yeah, it looks like he has some pretty decent front end damage, so that kind of explains why he has not been able to get up to speed as quickly as a lot of these other cars.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for him. Maybe a strategy call gone wrong, but Connor Thompson, it's been able to work for him for the most part right now, currently holding on to third down on the inside. Of course, if you remember, he took an EOL penalty on the initial start of this race, so most likely was hanging in the back, saving those tires, put himself in a position to have an opportunity like this to go off strategy, have that extra set of tires, and put those into play maybe a little bit later on, as we're kind of expecting another caution or two to come into play at some point. Something happened to Trey Holmes, by the way. He has lost a lap. Currently one of the few cars a lap down to your race leaders, as
following the 23 again.
Paul Schmallenberg going to be involved. Andre Chernoga, you mentioned, also in this one. We'll take a look. Looks like a big one. Lots of guys involved in this.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the 23's fault this time.
Ooh. So I think there's definitely a speed difference between the 23 and the 5, but the 5 does make a pretty hard hit into the back of the Andre Chernoga machine. But I'm wondering if maybe there was a little bit of netcode from the inside lane there with the 71 of Carpenter to shoot the 5 up. Doesn't look like it, Alayton. So I think the 5 just gets into the back there of Chernoga. Frank Foti going to be involved. I believe Austin and Nabnet also going to pick up a piece of this one. Yeah, that's a 60 of an Nabnet. Rabilas gets a good piece of that one. Frank Foti, Carlos Acosta. Zach Evans able to avoid it, as is David Phillips. But a lot of guys getting a pretty big chunk of this incident here. Your first big one of the day, Dave Huckleberry, also getting a piece of that wreck. Let's see if we can get a look. Oh, wow. So Kennel Noah player gonna get involved in this one. Dave Huckleberry into the back of player, into Talon. Yeah, that was a pretty big wreck after the wreck there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give the tally to the 5 for that initial wreck. That ARCA braking there is not great.
So we're going to step aside real quick here, just past the quarter-way mark. We're going to take a look at a couple incidents, pay some bills. We'll be right back here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere. And we're back here at Atlanta. It's the Atlanta 1-2-3. Just taking a look at the incident that happened to bring out the latest caution. I believe we do have a ruling from race control. And Alayton, I believe you said it's going to be a tally on the 5 of Austin Sally.
Yes, that's right. Just didn't check up enough for a car slower in front of him.
And we reviewed the incident as well afterwards, involving Kendall Noah player, Harrison Talon, and Dave Huckleberry. The 52 of Huckleberry did make an attempt to slow up in time, and just unfortunately ran out of space. So not going to be any sort of additional penalty there on Huckleberry's. We're back under green. Tommy Ryan sleeping on the restart. Corey Abbott blinking on the inside. Oh, Dusty Door leaning way down there on Jeff Ryan. Got to be careful with those.
Looks like Connor Thompson may have pit under that last yellow. I'm not entirely sure, but he is definitely farther back than he was when the yellow came out.
So Connor Thompson, just taking a look,
Yes,
he did pit on lap number 22. Harrison Talon has taken it back to pit road, so unfortunately for him, he's got some issues continuing on here. As up front, Jake Connor taking a look to the outside. Ops better of it, gets back in line behind Tommy Ryan. Ryan leading the top with Connor behind him. It's White on the bottom with Abbott in tow. Jeff Ryan and Hunter Smith there as well. Dusty Dewar up in the fight up top, as we also have Kyle Hanshaw up in the top 10 and Gavin Higgins, as long also Michael Hosick up in that fight. Jaden Rasimas just outside the top 10 now. Speaking of Rasimas, Jesse was scheduled to be here with us tonight, but unfortunately a work emergency came up, so not able to make it. Hopefully everything works out all right for him. Last thing I saw, it looked like his work truck was sinking into the earth, so not something you want to see.
Yeah, definitely not. And just race controlling these past couple of yellows has given me new appreciation for what race control has to manage with everything going on, especially as part of the broadcast as well.
Yeah, it's definitely quite the fight these guys have to put up with. I mean, shout out to Matthew Weeks on Sundays, Josh Adams on Mondays, Tuesdays with Jesse, Wednesdays with whoever fills in on race control there. It's always a fight for sure. Having to do race control, do the broadcast, deal with keeping everyone happy, but it's all part of the fun. As out front, William White still leading the way. He's trying to go 3 for 3 on the season, but he's got 42 hungry cars behind him that want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I liked having William and Corey on the outside a bit more because they had a bit more control over whether cars would be able to go 3 wide for the lead or not. But on the bottom, they're kind of sitting ducks to whatever the people on the outside might want to do. So that could be a recipe for more chaos in the future, but we'll have to see how things play out.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And one thing we just saw there in that camera shot, we've split off into 2 different packs. So leading pack number 2 is Casey Hatch, as well as Frank Fody and Dave Huckleberry. So that's essentially 31st on back. So your top 30 in one pack, everyone else in a secondary pack. So wasn't necessarily expecting to see that split pack strategy, but again, a lot of those guys towards the rear also dealing with some fairly substantial damage on board their race cars, so not overly surprising either to see some of them struggling a little bit at this point. As we see Jaden Rasimas stepping out of the line there a little bit further back. I think he was looking for a run, just no real opportunity to do much with it, so he's going to stay in line in the 11th position, just on the outside of Cale Pocock and just behind Dustin Dewar. Shout out to this guy just behind them as well, working his way up through the field. That's the 12 of Dominic Wright. He's having a good run here so far, up 10 spots on the day, currently sitting in position number 12 in the 12, which of course, Alayton, that's a pretty special number for you after picking up the title in that car last year.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully he can have a bit better luck than he did last week, but it's a super speedway, so anything can happen.
That's exactly it. Anybody could have a chance here tonight, but I got to point this guy out again. I mentioned him earlier as somebody to watch on these super speedways. Brent Jones is up 20 positions on the day, currently sitting in the 12th spot. So Brent Jones, Master BJ1's up here, doing a great job working his way up through the field.
Yeah, Brent is a bit of a plate specialist. He seems to always be in the right place at the end of the race. So still a lot of race to go tonight, but it's looking good for him so far.
let's take this chance here to give a shout out to a couple guys hanging out over in the YouTube chat. Of course, Johnny Thomas over there cheering for Carl Hanshaw, as he says. Jordan Owens checking in. How's it going, Jordan? Good to see you. And of course, everybody's favorite neighbor, not Mr. Rogers, it's neighbor Pete hanging out in the chat here tonight. Good evening, neighbor Pete. Taking a look back at group number 2, Casey Hatch side by side with Dave Huckleberry as Andrew Hardcastle hits pit lane. The 22 going to come to the attention of his pit crew, or not. Looks like he was dipping into the box, but
wall.
Andrew Hardcastle with some issues there. Unfortunate for him. Gonna have to visit pit road, and that will take him out of the fight here today. Already actually about to go 4 laps down, so Andrew Hardcastle not having the run he was hoping for this evening. Harrison Talon and Austin Sally both officially out of today's race by virtue of the 6 lap down rule. Andrew Hardcastle, the next at risk for that one, as we got an issue here. Casey Hatch and Dave Huckleberry gonna come together and put us under caution once again. Oh, looks like Shea Mitchell gets into the wall here, Alayton, and Casey Hatch gonna dive down to the middle to try to avoid that. Dave Huckleberry in the process of moving up as well. Ooh, this is gonna be tough, because one's going up, one's coming down. See if we can get another view of this one, maybe from a little bit of a higher angle. So Shea Mitchell drives himself into the wall. Dave Huckleberry and Casey Hatch come together. They go back up the racetrack. Oh, Brett Baldeck also gonna get involved. So it looks like multiple incidents going on here at the same time. That's the 18 of Trey Holmes behind Dave Huckleberry. Brett Baldeck gonna get moved by Andre Trinoga. Sends him up into the outside wall. Looks like Holmes checks up, Baldeck checks up, Trinoga does not check him in time. That sends Baldeck around, so multiple cars going to be involved in caution number 3. 2 cars stay out here under this third caution, Andre Trinoga and JP Phillips. So that'll be your first and second place cars. William White, Corey Abbott, Hunter Smith, and company all went down. We're going to step aside, hear from another one of our partners, and we'll be right back.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we're back here at Atlanta. It's the Atlanta 1-2-3. JP Phillips, Andre Trinoga leading the way. We've been joined now by Jess Story as well. Jess, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing good. Just here at the halfway point, coming back to the green flag this time. JP Phillips in control of the field. As the green flag's out, we're back on our way. Another slow start for Trinoga up on that high lane for the second time staying out after sustaining front end damage. I just don't like the call, guys. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, definitely. That front end damage is not going to be beneficial to him, especially if he's leading a line at these drafting tracks. So it'll be interesting to see how much he falls back on this restart. But it doesn't, as you said, it's not a very good restart for him.
Contact there puts Michael Hossack into the wall. We're going to stay green for now. Nearly contact again between Trinoga and Hossack, and again as these two just beating and banging. Ooh. Oh man, Trinoga down into handshot, up the racetrack again. He's fallen to the rear, already down 19 spots from the restart, just one lap ago. But back under green, and we're 3 wide at the front. Tommy Ryan losing a little bit of ground here as we're side by side. JP Phillips, William White, then it's Hunter Smith and Jaden Rasimas working their way up there. Into the top 5 comes Dominic Wright. Alayton, he's doing a nice job in that 12th car up into the top 5.
Yeah, it definitely is. We got 3 Abbott cars up there in the front now, kind of spread out at the moment, but yeah, Dom has definitely made some good moves. Corey recovered well from getting stuck behind Trinoga on that start, so definitely set up for an interesting run here.
Yeah, and it didn't take long for him to go 3 wide either. As you see Tommy Ryan up there trying to make that outside line work by himself, it's going to be interesting to see how much momentum he can keep up there without any help.
Jaden Rasimas pushed up a little bit there in the middle. Tommy Ryan had to escape all the way to the outside walls. They're still 3 wide here. Dominic Wright and Hunter Smith both owning part of that bottom lane as Jaden Rasimas gives a little bump there to William White. Corey Abbott to the back of Jaden Rasimas. There's 3 wide ensues once again. An update, by the way, Trinoga went from the outside lane, leading the outside lane, all the way back to position number 34 as he just got passed by Kendall Noah players. So old tires not paying off there for Trinoga.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like he's about to lose some drafting help from Kendall, so he's going to be out of luck here in the next little bit.
Yeah, with how close he and especially Michael Hossack were, I think we got pretty lucky to not have another big wreck there as he was falling through the field.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. As Tommy Ryan still trying to make that top side work, Jaden Rasimas just about got squeezed out there like the last drop of toothpaste in the tube as Corey Abbott and William White were tightening up there. Jaden Rasimas just trying to hold on to that spot in the middle lane. Ryan still up top. No help for him, but doing a really good job of keeping himself in the fight up there. He's one guy to watch here. I just noticed him. He just popped into the picture. Justin Vandermarl up inside the top 10. He's up 17 positions. Of course, Vandermarl, he likes these tracks, especially this Atlanta Motor Speedway. Winner here in the Cup Series earlier this season.
Yeah, I've kind of been keeping an eye on him because of that, see if he can go for a repeat. But as we've said repeatedly tonight, anything can happen on these super speedways, so it's hard to, even if you have a good track record here, it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
As
I'll tell you what,
field, by the way, just went by Shea Mitchell going a lap down. As what do you got on Tommy Ryan here? Is things getting tight around Vandermarl?
It looks like, it looked like Ryan got up into the wall there just a little bit, but he's got help from Jay Counter right behind him. But he was doing a really good job of holding his position up there despite not having any help. But it looks like Jay's going to tuck back in line, and now he moves right back up. It looks like he might be able to get a little bit of some help here, but really doing a good job staying up there despite not having a whole lot of drafting help.
I think a lot of the side force definitely coming into play, helping him a little bit here. And the odd time you see Corey Abbott kind of slide out a little bit from in behind Jaden Rasimas, that's given part of that rear end to the Tommy Ryan machine to pull off of a little bit, as Vandermarl now into the top 5, as he's going to go 3 wide with JP Phillips and Tommy Ryan. Ryan, like you mentioned there, Jess, has Jay Connor behind him. Connor working both that middle lane and the top lane, just trying to get a good run, see what he can do to try to get up there and get into this fight as well. Brent Jones, we've kept an eye on him all night long. He's up 21 spots, as well as Zach Evans, another guy that's up over 20 positions here tonight. Evans currently sitting 13th, started back in 33rd, doing a great job. As new leader at the line, Jaden Rasimas goes to the top spot, started 21st, now up to the first spot with 30 laps to go, and he's got Tommy Ryan pushing Corey Abbott up on the high side, so Ryan was able to get back into that middle lane, and he's now the pusher of that number 21 machine.
Yeah, it looks like the outside is the place to be right now. Both William and Jaden have gone down to the bottom after clearing the inside. And Corey's about in that same situation where he might be looking to do that. But I don't know if that's necessarily what he would want to do here with how quickly the outside is moving in comparison.
Oh yeah, definitely. As a driver, I always loved at these super speedway tracks running the middle to high line. You're able to keep the momentum up so much easier up there, and honestly, it's a little bit easier on tire wear, at least for me it is, compared to the bottom. As we see, it looked like Hunter Smith went up a little bit and lost some positions there, almost got into the wall.
Yeah, Hunter Smith going to fall back to the 13th position. Just taking a look at the running order, Harrison Talon currently out on the racetrack, but has surpassed that 6-lap down rule, even with his additional 5 laps from his connection issues earlier on. So Harrison Talon done for the day here. Andrew Hardcastle, the next driver, at risk of going out of today's event, but he's currently with the field, so I believe he should be okay. He's currently sitting at 5 laps down to the race leaders. Just taking a look, your biggest mover so far, Brent Jones up 24 positions. Next biggest mover, Paul Schmallenbach, who is up 20 positions, currently sitting in the 23rd spot. So he started dead last and now up to 23rd. Alayton, your pick for the win here today. Cale Pocock currently sitting in the 15th spot. I like where he's at right now. He's kind of got a little bit of a bubble, has some room to go high, all the room he wants to go low to avoid any potential incidents. So Cale Pocock is sitting in a pretty good spot here right now. As new leader down the back stretch, Corey Abbott edges out the 19 of Jaden Rasimas, as they're currently side by side through turns number 3 and 4. We'll see who has the lead at the line. It's going to be all about this final push here, as Abbott getting pushed by Ryan, but at the line, Jaden Rasimas leads with 25 laps to go.
Yeah, I could definitely see that these cars are starting to move around a little bit more as the tire wear is starting to kick in. These cars are just kind of bouncing all over the place. It'll be interesting to see how much longer they can hold this on without and keep control of these cars.
Well, guys, looks like we do have someone standing by in the waiting room. We've got the driver of the number 5 machine, Austin Sally. Austin, what happened out there?
Oh man, that was a rough one again. Back-to-back weeks. Man, that looked like coming in the corner. That 23 car just got really tight, and then he tried to overturn it more, and it slowed him down more. And I didn't check up quick enough apparently, and I was gonna go back down low to try to pass him, and then I didn't want to cut off the guy down below me, so it got tough right there for a second. And so I mean, back-to-back weeks, not doing too hot to start off the ARCA season.
Tough start to the season for you, like you mentioned. How do you turn it around heading into race number 4 of the season next week?
Stay away from that 23 car, and then try to just take it easier on the throughout the pack.
Well, Austin, before we let you go here this evening, any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give for putting the 5 car on the track? I know you had a good spotter here as well tonight in Ethan Burrell.
Yeah, shout out Ethan for always supporting me through this and trying to help me out as best as he can. Shout out my parents for tuning in tonight, and shout out you guys. I know it's always fun being in the booth during some of these races, so thank you guys for putting on a show.
That's Austin Sally, driver the number 5 for Pro Edge Racing. Well, guys, back out here on the racetrack, the battle continues between Corey Abbott and Jaden Rasimas. Rasimas still seeking career victory number 1 here in the Elite Racing League. Corey Abbott looking to knock those cobwebs off. Alayton, I think it's been 2 years since Corey Abbott's visited Victory Lane in Elite.
His last one was at Daytona, I believe. Not sure when that was exactly, but yeah,
Was that the truck race?
he definitely wants one. I believe so.
Well, that's 2023A. As the leader's going by some heavy lap traffic. Well, maybe not. And we have lost some of our drivers. Carlos Acosta involved, Gavin Higgins. I believe Corey Abbott nailed the outside wall. Brent Jones going to be involved. Let's see if we can pull this one up here, guys, and we'll walk through it. Brent Jones, one of the heaviest guys involved. Kyle Hanshaw involved in this one as well. Connor Thompson, Tyler Dixon, Josh Clark, Carlos Acosta. Eesh.
That was definitely a very interesting crash because it looked like, so Abbott got up into the wall like you said, but like it almost like looked like a weird net code between him and Tommy because all of a sudden like Tommy didn't even touch him at all. It just
2 feet in net code.
Yeah, that's like a really bad
That's
net
ridiculous.
code right there. So
That's ridiculous.
I've never seen that kind of net code before. That was so strange.
The sad part is, this is more common now in iRacing. Dominic Wright's going to get a big piece of that. Gavin Higgins, I believe Dylan Jones. Here's Carlos Acosta in it. Cale Pocock just going to miss it. Andrew Rucker going to do a nice job dodging that as well. Josh Clark. Just kind of ridiculous, guys. Honestly, that net code. Too much.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit too much. Yeah.
It's crazy. Jaden Rasimas leads the way with 19 to go in the 19 car. Andrew Rucker behind him. Josh Clark, Kyle Hanshaw, Dusty Dewar, the top 5, followed by William White, Dave Carpenter, Corey Abbott, Michael Hossig, and Justin Vandermarl, your top 10. We're going to step aside again here from another one of our partners, and we'll be back for the finish of tonight's Atlanta 1, 2, 3 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
And we're back here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's the Atlanta 1-2-3. You just heard from our partners at Worldwide Technology Raceway. One of our other great partners here at the Elite Racing League is Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels. Accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. As we are green flag racing once again. Back underway, 17 to go. Jaden Rasimas with a good jump out front. It's side by side between Josh Clark and Andrew Rucker for the second position. Kyle Hanshaw dips down, gonna tuck in behind Dusty Dewar as William White working the high lane just behind Andrew Rucker. He's got Corey Abbott there, Justin Vandermarl as well. As they're slipping, they're sliding. It's looking like a beach day here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway as they're working their way through turns number 3 and 4. Rasimas leads Clark and Dewar coming to 16 to go.
Yeah, it looked like Rucker got hung out to dry there by the 46 as he tucks in back into like 6th or 7th in line on the bottom. They're 3 wide for 3rd place. Oh my goodness.
William White with the aggressive move of the century. That's either going to work or he's going to end up on the tow truck because of it. But looks so far like he's okay. Corey Abbott and Justin Vandermeer are going to follow suit. William White has to stay up there, guide these guys through as they work their way now down the front stretch. Abbott into the wall. That's not going to help them too much. White clears everybody, but still staying up there. He's committed to his teammate. Hanshaw into the side of Abbott, door to door as they're 3 wide. William White, Kyle Hanshaw, Dave Carpenter now. That's your battle here as we head down the backstretch. Rasimas still leads Clark in the middle lane and White up top. Here they come once again, coming to just 14 laps to go. Everybody wants it. The intensity has hit the roof as they come down the front stretch. Let's see if they can keep it clean, keep it green. William White leads the way.
Yeah, Jaden, Josh Clark, and Kyle Hanshaw did not pit on that last yellow, so everyone else around them is on fresh tires. So that is why William and Corey forced that 3 wide to try and take advantage of their fresh tires while they have them.
A little bit of door to door again there, guys. Things are getting hairy up front here as that top lane of White, Abbott, and Vandermarl definitely looking a lot better than the inside lane right now of Jaden Rasimas and Dusty Dewar as they head down the backstretch. Josh Clark absolutely getting sent to the rear as he now 3 wide with David Westergreen and Tyler Dixon. Dixon, another guy to watch here in these closing laps. He, of course, has had some success on the super speedways in the past here in the Elite Racing League. One of the longest tenured drivers in this league, just looking for an opportunity to get his car back in victory lane after what's been a rather long hiatus. Quickly here, approaching 10 to go as we're coming to 11 this time. White and Abbott still have not completely cleared Jaden Rasimas, so that's why White's still sticking to that high lane. I think once Abbott gets that car ahead of that 19, I'd expect them to dip down to the bottom here.
Yeah, and a couple laps ago right there, it almost ended in tears for the 43 off it too, because he got hit just a little bit by the 21 of Corey Abbott and got dead sideways as they were coming across the front stretch. It was a good catch by him, but yeah, definitely they're trying to get that middle line to work and take advantage of their fresh tires. As you see, look like Williams kind of working both lanes right here.
Yeah, Jaden just pushed up through the corner there a little bit. He's definitely feeling those tires right now. And if I'm Will and Corey, I don't want to be holding the inside quite as tight as I am with Jaden in that situation.
So Hunter Smith just up the road here from the race leaders. He has dipped down to the apron, giving them that common courtesy, letting them go on by. Andrew Rucker, by the way, has visited pit lanes, so the old tires not paying off here today for Rucker as 9 laps to go. Now Justin Vandermarl gonna lead a Canadian outside lane. That's Vandermarl followed by Hosick up there, up on the high side there, side by side with Jaden Rasimas and Dusty Dewar, as White leads still here with 8.5 laps remaining. These guys starting to put a little bit of a gap on Jaden and Justin just behind them, and Jaden Rasimas sliding up the racetrack. Oh, that's a big wreck, guys. That's the big one here. Connor Thompson. You know what? It might be easier just to say who wasn't involved in this one. JP Phillips on pit lane. A couple guys probably going to need some black flags cleared, as Josh Smith involved. Kendall No Player, I think, was in it. Casey Hatch. We'll take a look here on the Robiles Photography replay machine and see what happened. But that's a big one. As Connor Thompson working his way back through the field. See what happens here. Think it's around Tyler Dixon, but it might, no, it's further up here. So Dustin Dewar checks up for Jaden Rasimas. That's exactly what happens here. Dustin Dewar checks up for Jaden Rasimas. Well, that's a terrible shot because it's dark here at Atlanta. But watch the top part of your screen, just under the caution text. You're going to see the 32 of Dewar check up. 71 of Carpenter into the back of him. Pocock into the back of Carpenter. Dixon into the back of Pocock. It's a 70s dance here of the 71, 77, 79. Connor Thompson in there. Carlos Acosta. Dominic Wright going to get involved. Frank Fody. Dylan Javier. Jeff Ryan also going to be in that one. You see Carlos Acosta, like I mentioned, the 13 car also going to be involved. That's Paul Schmallenberg. This is just a big wreck here, guys. Zach Evans involved in this one as well.
Yeah, it just looked like a huge accordion effect that just stacked everybody up on that bottom. And as you could tell, someone, I guess, didn't have time to react or had nowhere to go and caused a big old wreck.
Let's take a quick run through the field here with 7 to go. William White leads the way over Corey Abbott in second. Justin Vandermarl up to third. Michael Hosick fourth. Jaden Rasimas in fifth. Sixth is Dusty Dewar. Seventh is David Westergreen, I should say. Dylan Javier in eighth. Ninth is Paul Schmallenberg, followed by 10th place Trey Holmes. He's recovered nicely from an earlier incident. Frank Fody in 11th. He's been caught up in just about everything tonight. David Phillips in 12th. Casey Hatch 13th. 14th is Mitchell Javier, followed by 15th place Tyler Dixon. 16th is Andre Trenoga. 17th, Zach Evans. 18th, Kendall Noah Player. 19th was Connor Thompson. Now that's going to go to Dominic Wright, followed by Tommy Ryan. Dylan Jones still out there. JP Phillips, Josh Smith, Carlos Acosta, Kyle Hanshaw, Austin and Abnett, Dave Carpenter, Jeff Ryan, Andrew Rucker, Dave Huckleberry, and that's about it for the cars still currently on the racetrack. A couple more are currently sitting on pit lane getting their cars repaired. So we'll go green with 5 to go. It's going to be William White taking the inside lane ahead of Justin Vandermarl. Corey Abbott on the outside ahead of Michael Hosick.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Abbott Motorsports cars do in this restart. They're definitely going to want to try to work together if they can and try to secure at least a win for one of them. But it'll definitely be interesting on how they facilitate the front of this pack.
I don't think they'll do too much as far as working together here. I think they're going to each go for the win.
I think it's all for one and one for all, or whatever you say with that. They're going to go for it here, no doubt. And I would trust those two guys behind me. Justin Vandermarl, Michael Hosick. Both guys know how to get it done on these super speedways, and they're good guys to have there working with you. So I wouldn't be too worried about trying to line up the 43 and the 21 here. As green flag back out, Corey Abbott with a little bobble on the restart, but does get a good run here nonetheless with Michael Hosick giving him a push here. Justin Vandermarl not quite up to the rear bumper of the William White machine. As you saw, Jaden Rasimas nearly into the side of Michael Hosick there as the field works their way down the backstretch for the first time on this restart. Going to be coming to 4 laps to go. Of course, it has to be said, we have up to 3 attempts at a Green-white-checkered here tonight, and we're hoping those don't come into play, but it's a super speedway. Everyone wants it. There's a chance it could, as Justin Vandermeer pushing William White down the front stretch here. He's going to be side by side with Corey Abbott. Abbott with the advantage currently in that middle lane. Michael Hosick just behind him. Dusty Dewar, third car in lineup on the top. David Westergreen, that's another guy to keep an eye on here in these closing laps. If he can find somebody to work with that he trusts here, Dusty, maybe that car. I would watch that third lane to come alive here in the closing couple of moments. 3 laps to go this time at the line. William White leads barely over Corey Abbott, Justin Vandermeer, Michael Hosick, and Dusty Dewar, your top 5 with 3 to go.
Yeah, this is definitely going to come to a 3-wide situation before the end. But this isn't like Daytona or Talladega where 3 wide is something you can do somewhat comfortably, as we saw with Corey and Will on the outside on that last restart. It's going to be tight. So hopefully everyone can keep their cars in line, stay in their lanes, and keep it clean to the end.
Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go here, Jess Story.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm looking at...
And we're wrecking.
Oh, the clock is out.
Zach Evans, Jaden Rasimas, J.P. Phillips, Paul Schmallenberg, Dylan Jones, Casey Hatch. Multiple cars involved once again. And caution flag displayed. I believe Dave Huckleberry also going to pick up a piece of this one. Well, I mentioned it. Green-white-checkered is going to come into play. And that they will. As we'll take a look at the caution, see what happens. I believe Mitch Javier also going to be involved. Jaden Rasimas just bobbles quite a bit here, guys. And he was side by side with Westergreen. Checks up a little bit. Paul Schmallenberg into the back of him. Then Casey Hatch into the back of Schmallenberg. That sends the 19 around. That's when everyone else gets collected. Kendall Noah player. Also, oh my gosh, who in the world just torpedoed into that? Was that the 23 of Andre Trenoga? It may have been. Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did not lift at all.
Somebody else really heavily got involved in this. Mitch Javier was also involved, but there's another car that...
Oh,
Is that Dominic? Does Dominic Wright get involved in this one? No, Dominic's okay. Somebody else... Maybe it was... Yeah, no, it was the 23 of Chernobyl.
I also saw looking at that first replay too. I thought I saw like a blur of green like thread in between 2 cars, like it didn't lift. So
I think that was Dave well, no, Jaden Rasimas was involved in that one. That was probably the green that you saw. Mitch Javier also involved in that one. There we go. Oh, it's the 79 of Tyler Dixon. That's the car that I noticed that pretty heavily plowed into this incident.
So what I'm kind of wondering right now is at what point does Jaden's checkups lead to a tally versus it just being a accordion stack up?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough call.
yeah, I'll definitely agree that was a tough call because you could probably argue that Jaden's checkup probably caused that. But in the same breath, it looked like the 13 kind of like made the initial contact and just had no way of being able to kind of just avoid it at that point and just kind of kept getting into the back of him and turning him around more. But that's an interesting call right there.
So coming to Green-white-checkered attempt number 1, William White still leads Corey Abbott, Justin Vandermeer, and Michael Hosick, David Westergreen, Dusty Dewar up here as well. Dylan Javier a guy that's been involved in many incidents tonight, now up there in row number 4 with Trey Holmes. Tommy Ryan and Frank Foti up there as well. Dominic Wright in the 11th position doing a nice job. Kyle Hanshaw there. Andre Trenoga up to the 16th spot. That's a guy that's been involved in a couple incidents tonight. Could he maybe get up here and get a top 10 finish?
Anything's possible. I'll tell you what, I'm keeping an eye on Vandermeer there on the inside in row 2. If he can get clear of that 21, I'm sure he'll try to at least make a move to the outside to try to get around William White.
I think one thing to watch here as well, David Westergreen works well with the Lake Norman guys. Dylan Javier right behind him on the high side. If they can get a run going, Tommy Ryan's no stranger to that third lane as well. So keep an eye on that to develop here as we're back to the green flag. And a good jump here by both front row cars. They're going to be side by side, headed down towards turn number 1. White on the inside, Abbott on the high side.
Abbott's taking a lot more of a gap than I'd like to see there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is like Abbott I think had too much of a gap right there. You could see Vandermeer was just barely clear, but here comes Abbott on the outside with a push from Hosick. Oh, he's got a monster right here. Here we go.
I much prefer Corey Abbott's position right now than Vandermeer's. Vandermeer kind of trapped there. Michael Hosick, he's going to do whatever he can to try to get by. Coming to the white flag this time. White flag in the air. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. 1 lap to go here. Abbott up top. White on the bottom. White looking to go 3 for 3 on the season here in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. He's got the Canadian Justin Vandermeer just behind him as they work their way into turns number 3 and 4 for the final time. White with the advantage. Can he do it? Right now he's got the best seat in the house as here they come to the line and it's White again. 3 for 3 on the season. William White entered last week going 80 career elite starts without a win. Now he's knocked off 3 in a row here in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. Justin Vandermeer second, Corey Abbott third, Dustin Dewar in 4th, Michael Hosick in 5th, Tommy Ryan, David Westergreen, Trey Holmes, Frank Foti, and Dominic Wright gonna round out your top 10.
I guess it only took 1 win for the floodgates to open for William White right there.
That's impressive. Very impressive, guys. And you know what? He did it in dominant fashion here tonight as well.
Yeah, and winning at these super speedways is almost a completely different skill set than at the other tracks. So he is definitely showing the caliber driver that he is this season.
That or his cheat codes are working really well this year.
Good
Up,
point
down,
right there,
left,
Robert.
right, triangle, circle. That's working here very well for William White and that 43 machine. The driver from the University of Chichester doing a good job burning it down on the front stretch. We'll be right back here in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series. It's the Atlanta 1, 2, 3 on the Elite Racing Network. Here, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
3 years of sellout crowds. Years of edge of your seat action. 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR. And now, NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming. Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And we're back here at Atlanta, just wrapping up tonight's Atlanta 1-2-3. Now standing by is our third place driver, Corey Abbott with Jess Story.
Corey Abbott with a third place finish. Looked like a dominating performance for you and your teammate William White. Is there anything you probably could have done differently in that last restart to try to go for the win?
Jess, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if I had a hole in the bottom, then I'm just stuck on the bottom. If I go high, I think the line follows me. There was no third line at the end there, really. All I had to do was hope that Hossack or whoever could get to me, and he just wasn't quite able to when I needed it. That's all.
All righty then. Like I said, definitely a very strong performance for you. Definitely looked like there was a lot of movement out in the pack, and it was really hard to kind of get that momentum going and get those runs going. Just kind of tell us overall about how the cars drove tonight, and how do you think the track evolution changed throughout the night, if possible?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You actually had to manage the tires a little bit. The dirty air played a huge factor. You couldn't just ride right behind someone like a Daytona or Talladega the entire time. You actually had to lift a little bit. So staying right behind someone, making sure that they're getting that push, that draft was a challenge. I enjoyed it. I had a blast with it. I think Will did too. I think a lot of guys enjoyed this combination. It was more fun than I thought it would be. But like you mentioned, just generating the momentum to go anywhere is so hard. It takes so long.
I hear you about that. So before we let you go tonight, Corey, any shout outs you want to give or any sponsors you want to thank?
I got to thank the boys at Atlanta Motor Sports, Robert, Alayton, Will, spacing on names, but Andrew, all you guys. If I didn't get your name, I'm sorry, but appreciate all of you. Infinity Designs, CA Graphics, Tanks.gg, Ledge.gg, Jimmy Hayden Photography, all of them, all the sponsors, everyone who helps out with money, league fees. I appreciate all of them. And then you guys for putting on the broadcast tonight. You guys are great.
All righty, we're going to go ahead and let you go and go celebrate with your team on a very solid night. Congratulations on the third place finish.
Thank you.
That was third place driver Corey Abbott with Jess Story. Now I'm joined by Justin Vandermerle, our runner-up finisher tonight. Justin, what more did you need to get up there and beat that 43 machine and William White, who's now gone 3 for 3 on the season?
Honestly, I think better plate package. It was so hard to make any sort of momentum. There's no side force. Can't really suck anybody back if you're on the high lane. All I could do at the end there was push him. I think I had a brief moment off of turn 2 on the restart. I maybe could have jumped up in front of Corey, but I would have lost everything and I'd fallen back even farther. So I think P2 was the maximum given the position I was in, but I will certainly take that.
Now, it seems like you figured this track out pretty well. Obviously having a win here already in 2024B, now getting up here and finishing second to William White here tonight. What is it about Atlanta that seems to work well with your racing style?
I think it's just I'm like one of the few that actually look forward to racing here. So when you're having fun and you're kind of looking for things to do and how the draft works, and you drive that much better. I hung out at the back the first couple runs to kind of see if anything would happen and weed people out and how the draft works. And we found that you could cook a little bit on that very top lane. So use that to my advantage, gets to the front. And then once you're there, you're just kind of gridlocked. Like I said, pushing William was probably the maximum. I didn't want to wreck him, obviously. But yeah, certainly figured it out in any car, it seems like. It's a lot of fun for me. I hope we come back to it again. I know some people are hesitant about putting it on the schedule, but it's a track I definitely like to see back.
And rumor has it you spent the weekend with a Super Speedway ace here in the Elite Racing League, a winner at Daytona in the Cup Series. Did that attest to your great run here tonight at all, you think?
I think it absolutely did. You always want a weekend to decompress before a big race, get your head in the right mindset. So can attribute a lot of that to Robert Hill, the great caster, and I think is it two-time Daytona winner, or is it just one?
Just one.
Just the one in the Cup
Corey
Series.
stole the other one. Yep.
When we were teammates, even, so that was even better.
Before we let you go here tonight, any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give?
I do want to shout out Quadlock and everyone at Fuel Up Racing. So John Cutlip, Trey Holmes, Casey Hatch. They're all a big part of like how we race on these tracks and how much we improve week to week. So shout out to them, and shout out to you guys up here in the booth. You're doing a great job, and hopefully we can put together another good finish for you next week. It's Michigan, right?
That it is.
Another track that I love. So we'll hope to put together another good one there.
Well, before I let you go, I noticed you shouted out Quadlock, but you're driving the WeatherTech car tonight.
Quadlock's the main partner on this machine. I think they're on the quarter panel still. Don't have an ARCA paint for them, but they're the premier sponsor in both IndyCar and Cup for me, so shout out to them.
Well, congratulations on a good run here tonight. We'll see you at Michigan.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That's Justin Vandermeer, your second place finisher here tonight. And now standing by with your race winner is Alayton Norgard with Mr. Three-time William White.
Well, on 3. Are you just speedrun a championship now that you've broken the season?
I mean,
After White?
the plan. I think we have I can't really speed in the championship. I still have to wait till home city, but yeah, 3 would definitely give me a healthy points lead after sweeping the Roval, so feels good. Yeah, I was quite excited crossing the line. I've never won at a super speedway, so that was a nice change, and just thankful to John DeMau. Mainly, he was the whole reason I won that race.
Yeah, you've been working with Corey most of the race, but I'm guessing it kind of went out the window when you're restarting the side with. Oh.
Corey, side by side, put pace that plan of then kind of duking up in a big pack. Just the two of us, with Jaden kind of struggling with on the low side when he wasn't leading the line. So we kind of started to pull away, got about half a thing came out, and then when the one with 10 out, it was kind of done and dusted from. We couldn't really pull away in that short amount of time. So we just it out between ourselves.
Well, same issues, but we caught some of those words.
Oh, my
Do you have any,
internet is dying. I can hear you now.
Oh, there you go.
I looked to my left and my ping was like 1,000. Right, it's 100 now. I think I'm okay. Restart the interview. That first part didn't happen, I guess.
All right. Starting from the top, trying to speedrun the championship.
Yeah, no, yeah, got that bit. Thankfully, I pretty much understood. Yeah, no, speedrun the championship. I guess. I mean, but it's still a Final Four format, so hopefully, if I make the Final Four, I'll do the business on instead. But 3 wins in the first 3 races will definitely give me a healthy points lead to hopefully at least see myself safely into the playoffs, and then we'll go from there for the 4-race chase and then on to Homestead. But that's a good cushion to have. It's definitely giving me a bit more momentum now.
And then caught some of the response the first time around, but you and Corey were working together a lot of the race, but that went out the window on those last couple of restarts, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. We kind of realized that as soon as we were going to restart side by side with 5 to go, that the gloves were essentially off. unless I managed to clear him and ran around all that lot, and he got down to the inside behind me, that the late restart pretty much put pay to that plan immediately. We were pulling away nicely, but in front of Jaden and ran around all that lot. Seemed to be struggling a little bit with how tight the car built. Once you got sort of 15, 20 laps in, but me and Corey were working together really nicely all race long. We started in tandem and just hooked up since then, bumper to bumper, and thankfully managed to see it out almost all the way to the end, so we were in position, both of us, to get a double podium, which is always good.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good night for Abbott in that respect. Any shout-outs you want to give, sponsors to thank?
Oh, of course, everyone on the broadcast team, yourself, Robert, Jess as well, who's in there. You as well on double duty, Alayton doing race control as well. All my teammates, obviously you two, Corey, Andrew, Brent, all the BLR guys. Dom was there as well. Big shout out to Justin Vandermeer for pushing me to the win. He was amazing on that green-white-checkered. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have won the race if he hadn't pushed me as well as he did. So big shout out to him. Obviously, University of Chichester. Been with them, their esports program since September. They're always a fun lot to hang out with, all my friends and family. My girlfriend as well, watching. Holly got the third win in a row now, which is pretty sweet. Coming back home with mum and dad, watching back home while I'm at university. So yeah, a lot of people to thank still.
All right. Well, congratulations on 3 in a row, and good luck next week, but not too much.
Thank you.
That's William White, your race winner once again. Now, guys, I'm just taking a look here at some of the statistics season to date. And William White has led 79% of the laps run so far in this 2025 A season. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's got to be the most dominating season that Elite has seen at all
so far
across any of the series, I think.
So far,
yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to say, and I think, like I said earlier, he documented about his 04 winless streak coming into this 2025 A season. And as I said before, I think it only took just one win and the floodgates would open. He's a talented driver, and I knew that would be the case. And look at this. We're sitting at 3 in a row, and probably, like you said, Alayton, probably witnessing one of the most dominant seasons in Elite racing history.
Well, and another crazy stat on those laps led. Will has led 142 laps. Next closest is Jaden Rasimas at 11.
Wow.
That's stupid. Like, that's absolutely crazy to see, but great job nonetheless by William White. As we'll go ahead, take a quick look at the finishing results on your screen now. And guys, why don't we go ahead and get some final thoughts from both of you. We'll start with Jess Story.
Definitely a very exciting race tonight. Obviously, it's like one of those super speedway races that, anything could happen. And of course, with it being Atlanta and being the tighter technical track than Daytona or Talladega, we experienced a lot of handling issues, especially as the tires, went into the run. So definitely a very exciting race, and exciting to see, like I said, William getting 3 in a row here in the 2025 A season.
Final thoughts from you, Alayton.
Yeah, like just touched on, with the times that we've run Atlanta Super Speedway this season, these past couple months in the various series, it has become probably my favorite Super Speedway because of those extra touches that actually handling that matters has come into play. So this lived up to expectations. It actually outdid my expectations in terms of green flag racing. I thought it was going to be a lot more yellows than that. But yeah, these guys put on a good show. It was a good race.
They definitely did put on a great show here tonight and exceeded expectations to an extent here, and definitely pleased with that. Looking forward to Michigan, see if William White can maybe go 4 in a row to kick off the season. If so, I think we're talking about some historic stuff there for sure. Just a reminder, folks, that this is the final Elite Racing League broadcast of the week, as we'll be off both Wednesday and Thursday for American Thanksgiving. We'll return to the airwaves Sunday in the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series. Actually, no, we won't. We're off even Sunday, so we'll return on Monday in the Robotics Photography Grand National Series. That will be, I believe, race number 3 of the playoff, or race number 2 of the round of 2. It's going to be right here at Atlanta, but the legacy version of Atlanta. So be sure to join Chris Wright and company for that one on Monday night. But on behalf of Alayton, Norgard, Jess Story, Dave Huckleberry, Chad Frankfield, all the admins at the Elite Racing League, my name is Robert Hill Jr. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to all that celebrate there in America, and have yourselves a great evening. Good night, everybody.